So I had a conversation with somebody earlier this week. That person was talking about how their kid was having to label the parts of a microscope in class. And they're like, cool, that's great. I'm glad you're able to do that. But what did you see when you looked through the microscope? And the kid's like, well, we actually didn't even get to touch the microscope. We were just labeling the parts of it. That, to me, is just focusing on understanding like a set of standards, not actually investigating and exploring and applying those understandings to figure out, well, what does like a cell structure actually look like when I look through this? How do I actually zoom in and zoom out with the different parts of the microscope? When would I even use a microscope? Instead, we're focusing so much on just like rote labeling and understanding rather than applying the understanding and exploring or engaging in an inquiry or whatever. Now, that approach would have, in my opinion, a profoundly negative impact on learning. It's going to make it so students look at science and go, this is boring. It's like what my math and like history classes were like. We were learning facts, we were learning how to solve problems, but we didn't know when we'd use that. We didn't know why these facts were important. It was just memorize this date for the test and then forget it after that. As CS educators, we really need to make sure that like we learn from the mistakes that you may have experienced as a student and go, well, that didn't work for me or my peers. How can I take that failure for myself and for my peers and actually make it so the students that I work with don't have to suffer through that in the classes that I design, etc. This excerpt of the CSK8 podcast was from episode 185, which is titled Mind the Gap, the Illusion of Skill Acquisition in Computational Thinking.